Good morning, my dear children. Today we are going to study History Chapter 3, the Delhi Sultans. Now, before understand the invasion of Mughal rulers on India, let's understand how Delhi became the center. Till now, what we have studied under the ancient and earlier medieval history, Delhi was not a center for trade either for invasions or for military rule. However, during the early 12th century, Delhi started to become one of the centers. This all started with the Rajput rulers, mainly the Tomara Rajputs, who were defeated by the Chauhans of Ajmer. At that time, Delhi became the center for a kind of seat for most of the Muslim invasions that started out. Why was Delhi important at that time? Delhi was mostly a kind of fortified town which was known as garrison. Again, here there were lots of merchants, mainly Jain merchants, who were seen here, and also numeral coins were minted, and these coins were minted in Delhi, were known as Delhi Wall. So these were some of the basic, I would say basic or important kind of works during that period. The earliest rulers of the Delhi Sultanate were the Mamluks. In 1206, Muhammad Ghori died and Qutbuddin Aibak declared himself the Sultan of Delhi. The period between 1206 AD and 1526 AD in Indian history is known as Delhi Sultanate. During this period of over 300 years, five dynasties ruled over Delhi. That is, the Slave dynasty, the Khilji dynasty, the Tughlaq dynasty, the Sayyid dynasty, and the Lodi dynasty. The Slave dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak laid the foundation for the Slave dynasty. He ruled for 4 years. The construction of Qutb Minar was started by Qutbuddin Aibak but was completed by his son Iltutmish. An able and powerful administrator, Iltutmish established a vast kingdom by 1220 AD. Iltutmish became the Sultan after defeating Aram Shah, a son of Aibak. Iltutmish's sons were not capable of handling the kingdom. So he had announced that after his death, his daughter Razia Sultana would be the ruler. Razia ruled from 1236 to 1240 AD. Being a wise and capable rule, she brought many reforms in the state. Being a woman, she had to face many difficulties. The officers under her resented taking orders from her. Dressed as a man, she led her army in the battlefields. This created displeasure in the male dominated society. Some of her nobles plotted against her and she was killed in 1240 AD. This created utter confusion and chaos. In 1248 AD, Nasruddin, the youngest son of Iltutmish, was crowned as king. A devout Muslim and a peace loving man, he was a failure as a king. Administration was carried on by his general Balban. Balban was a strong willed, powerful personality and a member of Chalisa or the Forty, a group of Turkish nobles. selected and trained by Iltutmish for his self defense. After the death of Nasruddin in AD 1266, Balban became the Sultan of Delhi. A strict disciplinarian, he recommended simple living. Balban died in 1287. His grandson was the last ruler of slave dynasty. He was murdered in 1290 and the throne went to Khilji dynasty. The Khilji dynasty. Among Khilji kings, the most ambitious was Alauddin Khilji. He had bigger dreams than Balban. Like Alexander, he wanted to conquer the world. He ascended the throne by killing his uncle and father in law. Apart from Gujarat and Malwa, he captured the famous Ranthambore and Chittor forts. He even sent a large army to the south under the command of Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur looted and collected very huge hauls of gold from different kingdoms. He attacked even Madurai. Thus, for a brief period, Alauddin Khilji's domain was as large as that of King Ashoka. Being an able administrator, he brought about many reforms. He kept administration and religion separate. He introduced price control and market control. Thus, everybody were able to get food items at low prices. Bribery was punishable. Soldiers received money as salaries. Land revenue was according to the size of the land. Alauddin was a lover of art and music. He encouraged and respected artists. Amir Khusro was a member in his court. Musical instruments, sitar and tabla, were invented by him. After him, there was an immense power struggle. In 1320 AD, the Tughlaq family took control of the Sultanate. The Tughlaq dynasty. The Tughlaqs also wished to possess an empire embracing the whole of India. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was the first Tughlaq king. He was succeeded by Muhammad bin Tughlaq 1325 to 1351 AD. He was an able administrator, but his plan to shift his capital from Delhi to Devagiri, which he renamed Daulatabad, failed. His another plan of having copper and brass coins also failed. Ibn Battuta, an Arab traveler, visited the Sultanate and has written extensively about the kingdom. Muhammad bin Tughlaq lost the support of his nobles and ulema. Revolts broke out in Bengal, Warangal, Gujarat, Sindh, Audh, Multan, and Daulatabad. Firoz Shah Tughlaq succeeded Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He became very popular because he spent less on war and armies and more on building hospitals, educational institutions, bridges, canals, etc. for the welfare of the people. During his time, many Sanskrit works were translated to Arabic. Timur, a Mongol, invaded India. He had heard about the wealth of India. He marched to Delhi and defeated the Tughlaq rulers. Timur's deputy Kisir Khan settled in Delhi and declared himself as the Sultan of Delhi. He founded the Sayyid dynasty, which lasted for 37 years. This dynasty was usurped by the Lodhis, an Afghan tribe. The Lodhi dynasty. Sikandar Lodhi ruled over the region of Ganga Valley as far as western Bengal. He shifted the capital from Delhi to a new town which later came to be known as Agra. The most important ruler of the Lodhi dynasty was Ibrahim Lodhi, 1517 to 1526, son of Sikandar Lodhi. However, his importance was not due to any welfare measures but due to his arrogance. He was a tyrant. His nobles and the people conspired with Babur, the king of Kabul, to overthrow and succeeded in 1526. Okay, thank you.